Well, here we are, the final video in this series. So this is where our journey has been. We've created a database. We've done all this dummy financial data. We've created a .NET Core 3.1 API. We've added entity framework. We did some testing with Postman, and now we've also shown a quick example of adding Swagger documentation to API. In .NET Core 5.0, when you create an API, Swagger, Swashbuckle is automatically included. So there you have it. And so now we're going to add logging to the application, and we're going to use a NuGet package called Serilog. There's several out there. We're just going to do some logging here. Logging is kind of the last thing people think about when they're in app development. Then we're going to create an MVC 3.1 app, consume the API, and load it into a data table, very quick style, and then we're done here. And then I'm going to do it all over again. But let's talk about logging right now. So logging is mostly an afterthought in development. Like many other libraries for .NET, Serilogs provide diagnostic logins to file and console and elsewhere. It is easy to set up, has a clean API, and is portable between .NET platforms. So I've worked with it. True indeed. The goals of good logging will improve the ability to fix problems, better understanding of the application, better understanding of usage by consumers. Won't get into all of that, but that's when you're thinking of logging, you're really thinking about tracking performance and everything. It's not just errors alone, it's additional stuff. Why Serilog? Well, there's the URL to Serilog. It's easy to use, minimize impact to application code, and the developer can focus on coding. Serilog is flexible and it works with a lot of stuff. So, it just writing all the code yourself for logging, that's adding additional time to development. I mean, that's just the minimizing the impact to application code. It just helps. I've had to manually write my own logging APIs, and yeah, that's nightmare. So we'll do a quick little demo of adding Serilog to our API. Well, when it comes to NuGet package, yeah, go here. Well, you can go to project, and then so let's go ahead and get Serilog up and running. And so Serilog for ASP.NET Core. Oh, not in update, but browse. Hey, there we go. I use Serilog for ASP.NET Core because it comes with these two syncs in there already. And those are the ones we're going to show you quickly. Install. Boom. And this shouldn't take long. Now, when I was working with this, it was 3 point something. So we're at 4.1. So there might be a few missing here. Alrighty. Okay, so we do have the Serilog included in our dependencies. There she is. Awesomeness. Alright, so we're going to go to the program file, and so let's start it with, I'm going to copy the pieces in and then try my best to explain them. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is create our configuration. Now, ASP.NET Core has a completely new configuration subsystem that adds JSON, environment variables, what else, and other sources in addition to the classic XML formats we have had since .NET .NET 1.0. I remember those days. So that's what all of this configuration is. We're gonna read the add a JSON file, which is gonna be our root directory here. So we get what our root directory is, set our base, which is whatever the directory, the current directory path, which is here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And this change or reload parameters, if we make changes, it'll automatically reload it. This adds environment variables, and then we build it. And so this is our first step here, just configuring everything, because then Serilog is going, we're going to configure Serilog to read from that. Now the first logging we're going to do, just to make it simple, let's see. And I'm just going to copy this in, all right, and then explain it. Voila. So we're going to create a logger right here. Here we go. Of course, we need Serilog. This should give us the stop playing. There we go. Okay. So with the new Serilog.settings.configuration package, which was imported when I selected it for Serilog.ASP.NET Core, this package allows you to read from configuration. Let us pull in the same information from the app settings file. And the app settings file has all the nice juicy, like, reporting levels and stuff like that. Cool. So this logging information, Serilog is allowed to grab a hold of all of that. So what we're saying that, hey, whenever we log something, we're creating the log configuration, we want you to write to the console and the file. Now, the reason that's important, let's go ahead and just, if you look here, these are the syncs. When I went with Serilog ASP.NET Core, it came with these additional syncs. You could import them separately, but this was fitting just fine for what. So there's the Serilog configuration, which allows us to read from a configuration file, which we configured all here. And then we can also have these syncs where we want to write to the console and write to the file. And we're specifying the format, file location, and shared being true. Okay. So that's kind of why I went with this already. Yes. And if we wanted to write to, let's say, the SQL database, manage NuGet package, then we would go to Serilog dot what would it be? SQL? Microsoft SQL Server. So we'd include that. Anyway, MySQL, and they have a whole bunch of syncs if you went to the Serilog website. Can I just pull it up real quick? Serilog structured logging and provided syncs. Wow, that's nice. Okay, so these are all the places where Serilog goes ahead and prepared for us to write in all these different locations. Elasticsearch, file, which we have already. So they support a lot of frameworks. Progress, RavenDB, RabbitMQ, I mean, quite a bit. Anyway, point understood, close. So what are we going to log here now? So we'll write a log right here. This is very large log you should write. And dog information. So this is an information level log, and it has we're gonna write a message template. It's like app has started. So we'll go with that. So while we're firing up before we start to create our host builder, if something goes wrong here, the first thing it's gonna log is, hey, the app has started. It's gonna log it in to the console, because that's one of the syncs we're using that came with the ASP.NET Core package that Serilog ASP.NET Core, and it's gonna write this on my C drive in a file called test.json. Let's give that some space, and then we're gonna, if there's an error, I guess we'll do exception EX as the traditional called. And in here, we will say log.fatal. Means it really went wrong, and we want to catch that exception. So there is an overload for that, right? Okay, so the exception, that's the section, and the message, it went bad. Really bad. And last but not least, we will finally, Brock, and we'll just say log dot close and flush. Voila. Well, 4.1 didn't not mix with the code I had before. Yeah, okay, all right. You know, when you are so we're not ready yet, because there's one big old line of code. Hey, when we get started, this is when we're firing off our web builder, please plug in and use Serilog. Thank you, sir. That's it. You have a whole logging API where you don't have to write any code. You know, yeah. Anyway, it's just a quick example. And we hit run here, and it's either going to explode or work. And I do have a folder where so that's it, writing to the console. Oh, look at the pretty colors. The app has started, and if I'm right, voila, this is that text file I wrote to. Right. right here in my C temp logs. App has started. As we told it to. Nice. Okay, so let's see what we got here now. So in the program CS, we used a Serilog class to directly write events with like app has started. That's what we have here. App has started. This works well in ASP.NET Core apps, and I would encourage you to use standard Serilog interfaces like log, iLogger if they meet your needs. Alternative, we also have the iLogger interface, iLogger of T interface. So I'm gonna jump into that real quick. Go into sales order, and so we're gonna create a logger in here. So go right here, private, read only, and when we go iLogger, and then whatever the controller's name is. Go on the scan, sorry, backspace, underscore, come on Siri. So. I thought that was going to go differently. Okay. So we can use dependency injection for logging. So we'll do you. Okay. So let's see. And so same thing applies here. So we've already included Serilog. We've configured it to our whole logging. It has all the information we need for logging, so we have to use Serilog. So here we go. Logger, iLogger, and what we're gonna do here is just log dot. Looks familiar, doesn't it? Like sales orders. So we'll run it. Hopefully it doesn't explode. Probably should have tested before I tried it. Oh. That's our usual stuff. I hope I get this right. New. feel like I've done this before. So get sales order. We're gonna try it. We're just gonna execute, and executing this should have sent something to the log. And so there's all our sales orders. We should have test JSON. We should look here, and it should. Wow, it's gonna keeping track of all of this, huh? Let's take a look at our. Give us our time. Wow. The app is started. You're in here somewhere, right? Oh my gosh, it's even giving us all our SQL commands. There's our information. Get all sales data. And this is the SQL that it ran. And it's basing getting that information based on our app settings configuration. So information like this, lifetime of the host, all our warnings, all these are all log levels. And in here's that same stuff. Everything. Anyway, so there it is. Comes in very handy when you're dealing with a lot of systems. All right, I'm gonna close you out. You probably may not need to get all this information. So that's Serilog in action. And then you can imagine writing code where, hey, if there's an error, do this, do that, and other stuff. So really take a look at best practices when it comes to Serilog. This was just like a quick example. Okay, now this part of the process is going to have a lot of moving pieces. I'm going to populate a data table, but I'm going to go the absolute longest way of showing you how to set that up. I'm not going to do a quick example. This is a lot of tiny little pieces, very easy to follow, and I'm just going to kind of go through the code and just show you what we have here. Okay, component number 1, DataTables at DataTables.net. All right, so scroll here to these examples. And we're going to look at one with, it's with no configuration. Let's take a look at this first. So the reason I like data tables, they tell you which they require jQuery. I just like them because it was free and easy to set up, and it does a lot of good stuff. All right. So these are the two JS files you would need. This is the CS files you would need. And then this is just showing you that it's just a regular table. You give it a name, and if you notice the name here is example. When you go to JavaScript, you have to reference it like that. Okay? So what we're going to do is pop over to this app, to the app, and you'll see that I'm referring to the financial table, and I'm specifying exactly which data I'm expecting. Okay, now on document.load, and so I just have a regular table up here, and I'm using some of the bootstrap styling. I have this button here, and so this button here, I have it set to be responsive. Okay, and This is when document ready. So that JavaScript sets up the table, and it should open up with no data. Then what we say is, hey Shane, whenever that button is clicked, use Ajax, go ahead and call the all badges in your API. So what does that mean? So here I created a new controller called products controller, API controller name. So we'll go back here. API controller name is product. Get all products. Right here, back to controller name. Get all projects. This here assumes whatever the name of the product. This is a convention to say, hey, product. And I want this to produce a JSON. So this is a regular controller for API controller. It's calling this. It's going to return its action. It's async. So it calls financial services. Well, let's go to definition. So I created an interface, and this interface has one method because I'm doing an example with just one method. And this financial services implements that method, and it only has one method: get all orders async. I name it async by convention. And so this goes and connects to the financial HTTP client. So I created an HTTP client for this, and which gets all the sales orders. Yippee! Returned a message response. So we go into implementation. Okay. So when you're setting up an HTTP client, I have this base URL. This base URL reference this. So we can see. Is it debug? References this here for the project. So when this project runs, this is referencing this the base URL API by. That's how I set up the product controller. API, and that's so you can know how that's done right there. Beautiful, isn't it? Lovely, lovely. So I'll close this. So that's why it's referencing that. Let's go back to set a timeout. It's a crazy timeout time. And this is the actual call to the sales order action in our API. Now, you see this here is dependency injection, and we set all that up. We configure all that up so that we could reference it as an object through add HTTP client. And so if you were doing something microservices, you could add those clients here, and your app could just call to what I actually needed. This here is our financial services that I talked about, and we made that available so that it can be injected for dependency injection. We references this interface. This service can change and become something different as long as its interface remain the same. You don't have to change any code because this does not. This makes it loosely coupled at that point. As long as this interface is in there, and you could have multiple interfaces, it will work. So interface, the actual service, the HTTP client to talk to the service, and so in our product controller, we only have to reference this interface, and it will all tie itself together to that service call, plus that HTTP will automatically be injected here. From here, connect everything. This is just that response. It's ensure that there's a success code. Return contact, I'm returning it all as string. And I think that's everything. So we added these two services, and they can now be injected and configured early. And so that's the product controller. Now, from the data tables, this is how we reference the CSS for all the data tables. That gives it the whole layout stuff. I've worked with this so much that I just have a code snippet, and then periodically I check for the latest and greatest, and I'll update. I didn't in this case. I just grabbed what worked in another project, and these are my 3 links, the data tables, the buttons, the select, and then I brought this whole host of stuff. And each one of these, this is the base one that creates the data table. This is if you have the edit version. I do not, so I probably don't need that one. This is for selecting rows and column order and buttons. This one will export to this is the JavaScript that takes care of making it a PDF, fonts, export as HTML, print, column visible, which allows you to hide columns and stuff like that. And all of that is imported so that when I get here, I can configure all of that stuff. So when this first run, it's not going to have any data. Oh, sorry. This is the configuration stuff here. When this configures, when this runs, this is just going to set the table up with the rows and columns I want. Without it, it would have showed everything, but I only wanted these specific things. Does have paging. It's going to be empty when this first comes up. These are the colors, this select, column reorder, and you can do some things, but we're just going to get to. Now the Ajax call, we already went through where that's at. And this is how we clear the table. So before the send, we're going to clear the table. And then once that data is sent, it's going to do what we did here in Postman, right? So in Postman, I'm making the exact same call right now. I'm going to hit send. You already saw the data. Uh-oh, sorry, it has to be running. I'm going to run it. That's our API. This is our UI. App has started. Remember that in the previous video. And there you go. There's where our API is. So this is what comes out of the box. You can see product, price, date. You click on this search button here, but now that the service is up and running, I can do a send, and this will query that API and pull back the data. And boy, that's taking kind of long. I hope I don't have a breakpoint in there. Did I have a breakpoint? No. Yeah, this is just getting all orders. We're gonna go check that log file when we can. Explorer, and we'll go to our C drive, temp folder, logs, and that's our test.json. So our log file has been going through every time I run and test and got us here. Alright, so all that's running, all the logging is going. Let's see where we at here. Oh, I'm not doing that, I'm doing this. Sending. Cancel request. Viewing. Cancel. Yeah, I don't. See if anything had crashed here. So we should get 103 rows back. Okay, seemed like I worked out my bug. It refused connection. It wasn't running. And then I just went to my project. Don't know if it's going to show me it now. I'm going to go to properties. I just switched the API to startup first, then the UI. I don't know if that really fixed it. I just know that now when I go to Postman and I hit send, I get what I expect. And so that's the data. I'm not showing the sales order because I'm not doing any kind of edits or anything like that. Just showing you, populating it, you know. So that takes us right back to our UI. And so when I hit search here, and let's get back to this code, this is going to make the actual call to the service based on this being the base URL and then which controller it's going to go to. It's going to go out there. This is going to make that call. That data, when it's success, it's going to put the data here, and then it's going to be in the JSON format. Okay? So comes back as JSON. We pass that JSON and add the row, and then we adjust and redraw that table. These are if you want other things to happen. I like to stub out the whole thing. Usually here, if I have something going on in the UI, like a timer or something like that, this is where I would turn that on, and then in completion, I would turn it off here in the UI, you know. Anyway, progress bars, progress report, something to show something is happening. Anyway, we get back to the API up here. To the UI. We click search. Please don't let it explode. There's our data. We come up. We get all the sorting stuff. We can go look for hot dogs. Wow. I don't know. Do we have anything in there? $7? Oh, that looks at the date. We can export the PDF. There's your PDF. Probably not that well formatted. You know, you can play around with it, get things right. 24 pages. Wow. Okay, we'll close that. Export to Excel. It's gonna drop it down here. Boom. I no longer have Excel on this machine. No, I don't. Well, if you have Excel, CVS. I'm not saying all of these work out fantastic. If you hit print, this will pop something up. That's the print view. And there you have it. So just imagine all the nice, cool things you could do and get up and running. I really went like as much as the best practices I could put in there. But that's it. I hope it wasn't underwhelming. There's a lot of things we can do with formatting to make this show up as currency. So let me go and do that real quick. Make this look like currency, and this looks like a sensible date. All right. So on our screen now, I found all of this out on that site now. DataTables. This Stack Overflow, you have to do some research on this, and they let you know manual if you're formatting currency. It's quite extensive. Oh, they have the Bootstrap 5. I'm pretty sure that was coming, but it's yeah. But every time you find something here, they give you a lot of examples, and you can do searches and stuff. I haven't investigated cloud, just this. This is the free version editor. Anyway, let me just close it out real quick. So this is how you format a data type that's going to be number into currency, specified to decimal place, dots, comma. They'll explain all of this just from doing this render number search. And I'm sure there's other ways to do this, but this is what I got, and I said go for the fences. I'm pretty sure it's different if you're dealing with a different location, different country, but for the good old US of A, gotten this to work every time. And so when you run it, API first, API started, logging. Hope we touched it. I need to see what the logging looks like. So there's our log. That's so much going on here. We did show the logging. Slide you in here. Surely when you're dealing with a real app, you'll have to do way more than this, but hopefully this example allows you to say, take it to the next level. Elapsed milliseconds, that gives you, at least you know what the performance is like. Anyway, let's get you over here. And then we do the search here. I really thought that, there we go. We have our nice little currency here. Lowest priced items, our highest priced item, pizza, okay. Nice dates. And it's gonna give me another one. And travels along with the export, so that's always important for all of them. 30 sheets of paper, that's a lot of data. Okay, well, CVS, same thing. I don't know, Notepad. Have it right in there. Really good. And just all that functionality, the box. I think when you create an app for, business, and you want to like try and have your app be the thing, I think this is, it's a nice little snippet. I could go into more detail, but I try to rush everything in there. All right, for a very simple thing, this video eat a lot of time. I'm just a talker. Anyway, thank you very much. We're finished with this series, and then I'm gonna do this again in 5.50, 5.10, and I probably want to make it a lot more than what this was. But anyway, we're done. So thank you for sticking along with the course. Sorry it took an eternity, but it was fun making it. I didn't give up. Hey yo! 2021 has begun. Thank you so very much for watching these videos. Like and subscribe if you want to. I appreciate every way you support. Have a lovely day, night, just depending on what time it is in your part of the world.